Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, sorry about the late deadline stream. I had to do something earlier in the day, but I'm back now with the stream, so looking forward to it. How's everyone doing today? A pretty busy week at work as well, to be quite honest. So, it's been pretty stressful. I also responded to every YouTube comment before I jumped on the stream, just because I wanted to make sure that that was done. So yeah, feeling better this week in terms of like illness and stuff, but it was a pretty tough week of work, so not many hours slept. Throwback's father says, have Nusaka brought in Isak this week? I think that's fine. Like, I'm seeing a lot of teams, to be honest, and it's like, someone's going to miss out on a Saka, someone's going to miss out on a Trent, someone's going to miss out on an Isak, right? I don't have Trent, for example. Like, ideally, I would have loved to have a Trent, but I can't always do that. Thank you, Bobby. I hope you're doing well, Andreas. Lars, Ben, hope you guys are well. Rohit, same with you. I am feeling better. Thanks for asking. Good luck this week to you as well, Lars. Aaron says, Rogers or Matoma to start. I play Matoma easily. Jason, hope you're well. Hardware, hope you're well. Zuby, I'd probably still start Guardiola, but if you want to go Ryan at Nuri, go for it. Thank you, Marco. Lewis or Collins to Trent? I'd probably go Collins, to be honest. Hey, Fran, you reckon Allison to Fleck in this game week? I think, look, if you can afford a move like that this game week, I would do it this game week. I simply can't, right? I've got no money in the bank, and I can't go towards Trent until game week 18. I can't really go towards... So the way that I see my transfer plans, generally speaking, is I probably go towards a Liverpool player in game week 18 or 17, and then I go for the other Liverpool player in game week 21 in anticipation of the double, and given the fact that they actually have a good fixture run around then anyways, right? So like, if I look at, let's say, Liverpool, it's hard to say that you really want to miss out on honestly any of the fixtures really starting from 18. But I think the next onboarding point is 21. Given that a lot of people actually have some pretty good games between 19 and 20. And like, the way I see it, right, is say I make my moves now. Let's go like week by week. I'm probably going to keep Lewis the whole run. I've thought about it a little bit deeper. I think I will. So I think next week, what I'll probably do is Raul. And I'll probably go Trent. That's my plan. Then, in game week 18 or 19, depending on whether Mbeumo's going to drop, I'll go Eze. Then, I go Fleck into Allison. Oh my, can I spell? Oh, of course, he's Becker in game, isn't he? Oh, God. Yeah, so that's sort of my general plan, right? But if we think about looking at, let's say, some of the fixtures that I have, as a Flecken owner, I'd really just want to get rid of him as soon as possible, right? 17 is a nice fixture. I can't get towards him on 18, but I probably would want to get rid of him on 19. However, I could also just say it's very tough for me to get towards Allison on 19. I'd rather go and get Flecken on 20 and then get Allison on 21. In terms of managing fixtures, in terms of Eze, I want him 19 plus, right? Just look at the run. 18, I don't think is a particularly good game, but once again, as you could see, I was 0.1 off. So that does make things a little bit tighter in terms of my plans. So that's something to say. And if I restore Mbeumo, looking at his fixtures, I don't really want to keep Mbeumo, so I can happily sell him on either 18 or 19. It doesn't really matter because I think both 18, they have both bad fixtures. It doesn't really impact my decision making. On 19, once again, Mbeumo has a good fixture on 20, but then I'd much rather just go into Eze, who's got Southampton at home himself, and then I miss out on one of the Southampton fixtures. That's fine. So that's my rough transfer plans. I know that Trent will probably rise, that Mbeumo will probably fall. I don't think Flecken will fall necessarily, but those are the major impacts, right? So yeah, something to think about. As far as captaincy, I'm definitely going on Palmer. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind, but we can definitely just do a poll quickly just to see what people are thinking in terms of captaincy game week 16. So let's start with Salah, the usual suspects, Palmer, and then maybe let's just do a catch-all for other. Actually, I would say Isak and other, because I think Isak is actually an extremely interesting captaincy pick for this game week. All right, back to chat questions. And sorry, first of all, those are super chats. So Christopher, I would start Semenyo or Johnson. I'd probably start Johnson, to be fair. I think Johnson's still very good. I think that the minutes have been really poor for a lot of the players. I would play Johnson personally because I think he's still a little bit of a better player ultimately than Semenyo. And both have a quality fixture. Palmer captaincy pretty much leading the way. Pujan has a question. It will be in Jackson or Isak and Rogers. I'd probably go Isak and Rogers. The jury is still out on Eze. Is that the question? Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I'd captain Palmer. Whether Gabriel starts or not, I don't really know. Apparently, there's some some people are saying that there's a late fitness test for Gabriel. But I don't think we have any sort of like real leakers in on this. I want to also see if there's any transfer pricing news on today. So it seems like Trent, Saliba, Enzo, Palmer, Saka, Salah, João Pedro, Cucurella will all rise. Munoz as well, which is interesting. Colwell too, Isak too. I can't imagine that we're going to have 10 risers today, so I think that will probably fizzle out. Guardiola is going to drop again. I probably actually have to force a Guardiola move today somehow, which is so not ideal, but I think I will do it. So if I look at the transfer list, like I can't take another Guardiola drop, especially if there's going to be a Trent rise. So what can I do? I think I'm just going to have to force my moves for the next game week potentially, and hope everyone is fit and alive. That could be not ideal whatsoever. But fortunately, Liverpool and Fulham play, so that gives me a little bit of comfort, right? And I think Trent, yeah, hopefully he's, yeah, going to be someone who makes it out of the game fine. Same thing with Raul. And I'll just have to manage like that because Liverpool have a Southampton game in the Carabao Cup before the Tottenham match. But I'm still going to force that move, I think. Anish, thank you so much for being a member for 13 months. Bench Mitoma or Larson. I'd probably bench. Oof, that's tough. I'd probably bench Larson, to be honest, because I'm not 100% sure about his minutes this game week. No, I wouldn't bench Semenyo. I wouldn't bench Pedro either. So I do think it's between those two players. Also play Kirkes or Diaz. I'd play Kirkes personally. Yogesh, thank you for the super chat. Starting Gabby, have Greaves and Rico on bench. I think that's fine. Everyone should be starting Gabby anyways, right? Sam, thank you for the super chat. Roller and Bumo and Cunha to Isak and Semenyo. I'd actually go Isak to Semenyo, to be honest. I actually think that's a strong move. I think moving from Cunha to Isak is totally fine. I think totally strong. Bruno versus Bowen long term. I think Bruno is just generally the player that I prefer, mostly because of a bit of penalties aspect. You know, Paqueta is still going to take some penalties and play more minutes. Bruno versus Semenyo. I'd probably actually play Semenyo in this game week. Lewis to Trent or FaZe to BVD. I'd probably go Lewis to Trent. I always prefer Trent to Lewis. Sorry, Trent to Virgil. Dunk over Rogers. I'd play. I mean, I don't think it matters much. I don't think it matters much. Yeah, I don't think it matters much because, like, let's be honest, all my outfield players are going to play, and the only player who's at risk of not playing is Gabriel, so it doesn't really matter. And I think they're close. Start Mbumo or Nuri. I'd probably play Mbumo. But it's close. Gabriel starting or not. We don't have any news. Who's saying Gabriel is benched? Apparently Gabriel's on the bus. Apparently Gabriel's on the bus. That was the latest news. Rogers or Kluivert, I'd probably play. I mean, I would like to play Kluivert, but I don't even know if he's guaranteed to start. I'd play Kluivert anyways because it's not a great Rogers game. Start Enzo or Semenyo, I'd start Semenyo. Hey, Fran, start one. Semenyo, Reese, I'd go Semenyo, just back the home fixture as well. KC, hope you're well. Fleck into Ryer, Watkins to Isak. I'd probably go Watkins to Isak because I'm not even sure if Watkins is fit. Would you sell Aït-Nouri for Gabriel if he starts for free transfer this week? I mean, yeah, I would, but hard to say that we'll ever get Gabriel starts news. Would you start Hall or Aït-Nouri if Gabriel's not fit? I'd start Hall over Aït-Nouri for sure. Hi, Fran. I have Bruno, Dallo, and Kelleher. Do I just bite and do a -8 to Alisson, TA, and Enzo? I don't really mind it, honestly, to be honest. I actually don't mind that. Like, if you think about it, that's going to recoup some value all the way up until Game Week 24, so why not? Who's better long-term, Isak or Jackson? I've always felt it was Isak over Jackson, personally. You know, even if Jackson scores a brace today, and, I mean, not today, but rather just in general within this game week and Isak blank somehow, I've always felt that Isak is better than Jackson as a pick, and that's just coming down to minutes, coming down to penalty share as well. Amada Rogers, I'd play Rogers. Lewis Hall, a good transfer, definitely a good transfer. Enzo Rogers, I'd play Enzo this game week. Is Enzo good? I mean, for his price point, I think he's good. I don't think we're saying he's somehow become a god. FPL Animate, hope you're doing well. Which one to bench? Wood, Pedro, Cunha? I'd probably bench Wood personally. I think I'd back the other two slightly better home fixtures in Pedro and Cunha, but I can imagine you might think it's close between Wood and Pedro too. So I'd probably go Pedro personally. I think I still back his fitness. Would you still start Fabianski if everyone in your league has Flecken to start? I mean, I think, yeah, obviously, for sure. I mean, anyways, you're playing to win your league, right? Not copy everyone else in the league. Suggest 3.9 defender. There's just no 3.9 defenders that are any good. So really, why does it matter? Would you sell Solanke to Isak? I mean, I literally did that last week. So yes, I would. Salem, thank you so much for the super chat. Hope you're doing well. What you recommending? Guardiola to Trent or Solanke to Cunha to Isak? I would probably go Guardiola to Trent first. Yeah, that's sort of my take on that. But if you can actually afford Cunha to Isak, I would do Cunha to Isak. If you can keep Solanke Isak, I think that's actually the best move. So I think Cunha to Isak is probably the one that I like the most. Why not Rodgers to Mbumo? As in, why not Rodgers over Mbumo? I still think Mbumo is a better just attacking player in general compared to Rodgers, right? And if we're gonna say that Nottingham Forest is a very good defense, I don't see how it's particularly too close between Mbumo and Rodgers for this game week, I suppose. So yeah, penalty share, a bit of a factor. I know Watkins could be out, but still, I think he's probably gonna be fine. Someone says he's got Alisson with no backup keeper. Not really, right? Because if Alisson gets injured, you can just go back down to Kelleher, you know. So I think you're fine. Anish says Kukurea in. He's been playing really well, but I don't think Kukurea is that good of an FPL pick. I would still actually go Colwell because I'd rather just save money. Start Aït-Nouri or Colwell. I'd go Aït-Nouri in this situation. Start Cunha or Aït-Nouri. I'd start Cunha easily every single day. Gabriel on the bus. Yeah, that is the news. Yeah, I mean, I'll put that as well, just as a pin point. That's the only leak we have. Someone is on a bus, guys. If that's important to you in FPL, yeah. If that is important to you, someone is on a bus. Start Colwell or Kirkez. I'd go Colwell for sure. Thank you so much, Tane, for the super chat. Yeah, I would just go Colwell simply because Brentford at home is a really nice fixture. I know West Ham at home is also equally a nice fixture, but if I could give any credit, I think I'd still say that I'd probably still say that Chelsea have been a slightly better, like I still think going forwards are a slightly better defense. I know when we're actually looking at the defensive numbers, Bournemouth have actually been better than Chelsea. That's absolutely true. But I think when you're thinking about actually the tough fixtures faced, so the thing about Chelsea is, if you think about it, right, you're going to play half the league by the time it comes to Game Week 19. So the fact that Chelsea have 4 amazing fixtures up in their corridor just means that I think that their defensive numbers will sort of self-correct. Whereas obviously Bournemouth have a slightly sort of up and down run. Great fixture this game week, but I would just play Colwell, generally speaking. OP Talent, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Start Ryan Aitner Guardiol. Sell Guardiol / Gabriel to Trent. I would go Guardiol to Trent easily. Easily, I would make that move. And I would play Ryan Aitner in that situation. I'm not sure how that would work with you. Are you benching Ryan Aitner in that situation? Isak captain is definitely a good option, but I would still go Palmer personally. Like when I was looking at the market odds, it was actually still higher for Palmer for goal share, which means that, you know, there's not too much of a close decision there. I suppose you just go Palmer, but I would say in order this week, it's very close between Salah and Isak, and then Palmer I think is a little bit more clear in my mind. Savet says, why Palmer over Salah given Fulham missing 2 center backs? It's a good point. I think first of all, Fulham by default are a much better defense. Their fullbacks are also quite good defenders, right? Like Robinson is actually quite a good left back in terms of one-on-one defending. So yes, I think that is an aspect too. And then yeah, I think there's a gulf naturally between, you know, even let's say the weaker iteration of Fulham where they have 2 defenders out versus let's say Brentford defense, which has been all over the place this season anyways. So yeah, I think it's a close decision. I think Isak is up there as well, but yeah, personally I would go Palmer first. Tiggy, thank you so much for the super chat. Hope you're doing well. Bench 2, Guardiola, Hall, Aitnuri, Wisa, Strand Larson, or João Pedro. I'd definitely play Hall, definitely play João Pedro. I'd probably bench Wisa and I'm tempted to bench one of the other defenders. And I'm just trying to think about what's the best sort of outcome for you, because the only risk that I can see with that team is what happens if Strand Larson gets benched, which I think is super unlikely. So I'm just going to take the assumption that Strand Larson starts on that sort of basis. I think, yeah, it's a Wisa bench plus probably maybe either a Guardiola or Aitnuri bench. I think those are the 2 players that I think about benching. I would personally play Guardiola over Aitnuri, but I can understand why people want to play Aitnuri, right? It's still Ipswich at home. He actually played in extremely attacking positions last game, so if ultimately you come down to a decision of benching Guardiola, I think that's fine. But I would definitely bench Wisa and hope that basically Strand Larson starts, and that it should just be a good play. Captaincy poll is actually pretty close. Not too many people think about Isak, but he's still a good pick in my opinion. Palmer leading the way, then Salah, which makes a lot of sense. I wonder if the effective ownerships will still be that clear in favor of Palmer, though. There's no 3.9 defender, so I mean, I don't know what you want me to suggest. And I'm just going to put you in timeout because no emojis in the chat would be ideal. Would I sell Solanke to Isak? Yes, I absolutely would. Should I get Allison to cover Liverpool defense? I think that's fine. Are we sleeping on Esteban? Yeah, I mean, he's been very attacking. I don't think we're sleeping on him necessarily, though, because he still costs quite a bit. It's not like he's like a 4.5 defender, right? And keep in mind that also, unfortunately, Brighton's defense has looked really, really poor. So there's that aspect too. But yeah, solid pick. And the only concern, I suppose, is, you know, what happens when there's a couple more bodies back in the team? Like, what happens if Kadioglu comes back? Is there an opportunity for some of the other players to actually start benching Esteban in the future? Or, for example, for Esteban to be an earlier substitution? Haaland to Isak for -4. I mean, I don't think a single transfer is really worth a -4, but if you're also getting someone like Salah or Palmer back in as well, I think that's worth a -4. But yeah, try not to spam the chat, so I'm going to have to put you in timeout, sorry. Thoughts on Enzo? I think he's a very, very valid pick, but I don't think he's generally someone that I think is necessarily like, you have to spend a free transfer on him, right? If you're using Enzo to somehow get towards Trent or somehow get towards Isak, I think that's a very good move. But keep in mind that if you're suddenly, let's say you're selling Mbeumo for Enzo this week and you're doing nothing else, that doesn't make sense to me because Mbeumo just has a good fixture next game week. Is there any good players for under 5 mil to swap Bruno and bring in Isak? Good idea. I mean, it's Ahmad or Enzo, and I think not really. Like I do like Isak a lot though. Gabriel or Kirkes, I'd play Gabriel easily. Start Enzo or Johnson, I'd play Johnson. Chelsea always suffers against Brentford. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not someone who buys much into historicals personally. I think this Chelsea team is still great. Someone says he doesn't have enough money for Saka. I wouldn't go Odegaard per se. I would just go somewhere else. Or I would just try to find a way to get towards Saka like later down the line, right? I don't know if it means that you try to get Saka in game week 18 instead, but yeah, I mean, it's tough because of course the run like 19 plus is not ideal, right? It's Brentford's actually a good game for sure. Brighton away is tougher. Spurs at home is actually a good game, I would say. Aston Villa at home, not really a good game. But most of us are really owning Saka for the foreseeable future. So I think That's something to think about. If you're ignoring Saka entirely, I think you can just spend more money within, like, let's say the forward positions or even the defensive positions. So that means more Liverpool players, maybe more Arsenal players in defense, stuff like that. 10 minutes till the deadline, absolutely, that is true. Let me actually fix the countdown clock. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's going to be my team. I'm probably going to tweet it as well because I think ultimately I'm just not going to make a move this game week. Sorry, I'm just going to respond to someone very quickly. Right, sorry. So Friction Films, and also there's another super chat too that I missed. So Rafa K, thank you so much for the super chat. I'll have a look at for any messages that you've actually mentioned because I can't see any text associated to your super chat. So I'll have a look for, if you can pop some messages in chat, Rafa, I'll have a look at any of your questions. Whacker24 got forwards, Pedro Jackson Cunha, same as me. Defense, Gabriel, Greaves, Keane, Guardiola, Night Nuri plus 2 free transfers. Do I Guardiola to Trent or Gav plus Cunha to Colwell plus Isak? I actually really like Colwell plus Isak, but are you saying Guardiola plus Cunha to Colwell plus Isak? If that's the case, then I would definitely do Guardiola plus Cunha to Colwell plus Isak. I think that makes sense. I personally would like to go either Trent or Isak, right? So I think of all the moves that you're suggesting, I would generally go for any of the two. If you can actually go from Guardiola to Trent with one free transfer, I'd probably stop there. But up to you. Friction Films, pick 2 Guardiola, Colwell, Hall. Yeah, I would just play Hall and I would just play Colwell first, and I would bench Guardiola in that case. Start Semenyo and Mbumo. I would go Mbumo. Sorry, I would go Semenyo 100%. Like if I had Semenyo, I would be playing Semenyo myself. Am I sticking Palmer captain? Yeah. Look, ultimately, I just think Brentford are a much more inferior defense, regardless of Fulham's like central defensive issues for this game week. And that's pretty much it. I think even if the market odds kind of back that sort of sentiment as well, it's probably a little bit closer. But look, Isak is a great pick too. I mean, I'm not even vicing him, for example. So yeah, those are kind of where my thoughts are. Salem, thank you for the final discussion. Who to go first this game week? Cunha to Isak or Guardiola to Trent? I personally think that the upgrade from Cunha to Isak is actually higher than, let's say, the upgrade from Guardiola to Trent. That's my personal opinion. So yeah, I think I would definitely just do Cunha to Isak personally. Play Fleckner or Fabianski. I'd play Fabianski first of all. Actually, I'd still play Fabianski. Start Rogers or Mbumo. I'd start Mbumo. I mean, I have this own decision made on my own team. Eze good this game week. I don't think Eze is any good until game week 19, to be honest, but I think he's going to be good 19 plus. So this game week, he's a bit mediocre. Like, I think Eze and Mbumo Bowen all have some pretty mediocre games, and I think they're all decent, but like nothing exceptional. Is it bad to play Fabianski for 2 game weeks? I don't think so necessarily. I think, look, You, as long as you have a playing goalkeeper, Doctor, I think you're fine. Any Gabriel news? Apparently he was on a bus. That was it. That's the news. Is Solanke Isak a must? I don't think it's not a must at all, my friend. Rafa, I'm trying to find messages that you've posted, my friend, but I can't see if you've um I can't see if you've posted anything, Rafa. Thank you so much for the super chat, though. I really appreciate that. Bench one of Guardiola, Hull Cole, probably bench Guardiola. You don't have a backup keeper, only Allison. Yeah, I think Allison will definitely start. There's nothing wrong with not having a backup keeper to Allison. I think, like, if I went for Allison this game week, I'd feel super confident that I don't need a backup goalkeeper. Start Walker or Coble, I'd start Coble easily. Coble or Dunk, I'd start Coble. Play Einar or Johnson easily. Sell Wood to Isak on a -4. I don't think it's really worth a -4, but if you're going to get priced out eventually, I think I would do it. Hello, Fran. Should I start Ahmad in favor of Rogers? Yeah, no. I would play Rogers still, I think. Thoughts on Gabriel's minutes? I actually think that Gabriel should start, but I really don't know. Empass so much. Missed a few streams. Happy to catch one again. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for being a member for 9 months. Thoughts on Palmer versus Salah captain if I own Palmer, Enzo, and Jackson? I really don't think, like, first of all, let's just go through the discussion points of, surely if you own 3 Chelsea players, you're playing 3 Chelsea players, you want Chelsea to do well. Chelsea doing well usually implicates that Palmer does well, but that's just, like, I think that's a decision making in terms of reality based on your team. But generally speaking, when you look at, for example, the market odds this week, Palmer is just clear of Salah. So I don't think that I see this as an opportunity if you're overly owning Chelsea to suddenly hedge against the Chelsea players. I would still just back the best possible outcome in most circumstances and treat your players independently of each other, particularly since, let's say, Palmer and Salah isn't a true 50-50 this week. I think it's more of a 55-45, right? So I would just go with Palmer in this case, regardless of, like, the Chelsea players that you owned. If it was suddenly close, Liverpool leads, Cunha benched. Who's saying Cunha's benched, guys? Start Hall or Enzo? I'd start Hall personally. Who's saying Cunha's benched? Is that just waffle? What? Cunha's benched. Is that... Who is saying Cunha's benched? We are hearing Cunha starts... No, that's... Guys, no, you're getting trolled. You're getting trolled. You're getting trolled. That's... I'm pretty sure that's Buna, right? It's Buna. Why are you guys scaring me, man? It's like 2 minutes before the deadline. Gosh, do not bench Cunha, please. Why am Mbeumo way over Rogers? Nah, I can't be having this. Don't bench Cunha, guys, please. T -1 minute, correct. You've got 40 minutes to unbench Cunha. Rogers to Enzo. Why Mbeumo over Rogers? I mean, they both have away fixtures and they're both bad. And Mbeumo's a penalty taker at the end of the day. That's it. Play attention to blue ticks. Gabriel not in the squad. Who said that? Okay. All right. That's it. I guess that's the news, guys. React to that. 20 seconds left. Lock in your teams, please, as best as possible. So yeah. I might just change this around. YOLO. Yeah. Rogers to Enzo. I don't think it's really worth a one free transfer move. Gabriel starting. I think Gabriel should start, but I really have no news. That's not confirmed whatsoever. And that's the deadline, guys. So thank you guys so much for joining this really quick stream. Really appreciate you guys and the support. Out of the shadow, Haaland captain for the differential or sell. I mean, it's a little bit too late, but I hope Haaland captain works out for you. I wouldn't have said that it would have been a great game, but actually, to be honest, like the amount of hat tricks he's had versus United, to be fair, who knows? There's a little bit of reality there. So hey, enjoy this game week, guys. What's my team value? 103.9. I think I'm actually going to do some moves after the deadline. I'll speak to you guys about it. As I said, I think I'll probably do Cunha to Raul, and I'll probably do Trent to I'll probably do Guardiola to Trent after the deadline, because I'm going to be pushed to make those moves due to sort of price related reasons. And yeah, not ideal, but it is what it is, as people say. So that's going to be the team. Thank you guys so much for being around. Really appreciate you guys for being around at the deadline. Apologies for being a little bit unresponsive in terms of like comments and stuff like that. I've just been super busy this game week, and just in general. So I'm hoping that that eases up and I can be a little bit more responsive in the future, because I am now finally like on my vacation period for the year, and I can make a lot of content over December without having to, I guess, deal with work demands. Taking a -8 for Trent, I don't think it's really worth it, but if you ended up going there because of FOMO or whatever reason, then that's that. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and enjoy Gameweek 16. I'll see you guys soon, but take care and enjoy the weekend.